So I want to cover some facts about saunas and kind of, some of the differentiating factors between infrared saunas and traditional saunas, and help you guys understand some of the key differences here a little more deeply. So traditional saunas, like what you would find commonly in most gyms or health clubs, is a radiant heat style sauna, like hot rocks on top of an electrical heater. Now, these saunas work by heating the air in the room. So they work by convection, and by being in a room filled with hot air, it eventually makes you hot. Infrared saunas work through a different mechanism, not so much by heating the air in the room, though they do that to some extent, to a lesser degree than traditional saunas. They actually emit infrared. So they have emitters on the wall that emit infrared rays, which is part of the electromagnetic spectrum. So, the sun emits infrared rays as well. And those infrared rays penetrate into our bodies and actually heat us up from the inside out. So, kind of different mechanisms of how they're actually working. In terms of the actual temperature, there are some significant differences as well. So because infrared rays are penetrating into your body and heating you up from the inside, the temperature in the chamber, in the actual sauna itself, of the air is usually a lot lower. So infrared saunas typically are at 104 to 140 or 150 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 40 to 60 degrees Celsius. Traditional saunas are usually between 70 to 100 degrees Celsius, which is in the neighborhood of about 158 to 212 degrees Fahrenheit. So somewhere in there. So you can see there's quite a significant difference in that. But having said that, you may sweat in an infrared sauna just as much or more in some cases, even at a much lower air temperature. So the actual sweating element of it is about the same or more in many cases. And this is really the real benefit why infrared saunas have become very popular and more popular than traditional saunas for most people, is that they're much more comfortable. So you can get the sweating and detoxification effect while being significantly less uncomfortable than you would with a traditional sauna. Also, I'll mention steam rooms. I generally do not recommend steam rooms unless you are sure of the water supply. This is a factor that most people are not aware of, but water, tap water, especially if you're in the United States, is filled with contaminants, and those contaminants, things like chlorine disinfection byproducts and ammonia and a number of other different compounds in the water supply. And I've written an extensive article on water filtration technologies. But those contaminants in the water supply become much more toxic when they're inhaled versus when you drink them. So this is actually a much greater degree of toxicity to inhale the vapors from like a hot shower or a steam room compared to actually drinking that tap water. So unless you are absolutely sure of the water supply in the steam room that you're using, like for example, you have a steam room built at home and you have a home water filter that is making sure your water is extremely pure and filtered of all the major contaminants to a very, very high degree. If you're in any other situation than that, I strongly advise against steam rooms, because you'll just be inhaling a lot of toxic vapors in there, which is really counterproductive as far as what we're trying to accomplish here. You'll still get some of the heat hormesis benefits, but you'll be, maybe adding more toxins to your system than you are detoxifying them. So not a good idea to use steam rooms. Highly recommend dry saunas over steam rooms unless you're sure of the water supply. So how to use a sauna: if you're just starting out and you're unsure about your health status, or your first time using the sauna, you don't know about your heat tolerance, just do 3, 4, 5 minutes in your first session at a relatively low temperature, then build up slowly from there, adding 30 to 60 seconds to each session as it feels comfortable for you. Now, that's very cautious recommendations. I'm assuming that I'm talking to someone who is not currently extremely healthy and fit and full of energy. If you're dealing with severe chronic fatigue, then you need to start very slowly and very cautiously with this. Don't overdo it. The same thing with exercise. You just want to approach this in baby steps. The infrared saunas are really the thing that has become the hottest, and forgive the pun, but they're actually not the hottest in terms of temperature when it comes to a comparison with traditional saunas, but they're the hottest in terms of their popularity. And for the reasons that I mentioned before, which are that you can get pretty much all the benefits, but while experiencing less discomfort than you would in a traditional sauna. You don't have that super hot air that's burning your nasal passageways and that sort of thing. You're pretty comfortable, but you're still sweating a lot. Your body's still heating up from the inside. So infrared saunas allow you to do that. Infrared saunas are generally going to be better for most people, especially the people listening to this podcast. If you're dealing with fatigue, or you're dealing with any sort of chronic symptoms, or you're not somebody who's young and already extremely healthy and energetic, in general, I recommend infrared saunas over traditional saunas. These are some of the best brands that I recommend for various reasons. There are a number of concerns with infrared saunas that you need to be aware of, because there's a lot of cheapy brands out there, made in China, made with plywood, made with glues that are going to be off-gassing chemicals into the sauna and then adding toxins to your system instead of helping you detoxify. So, you can go on Amazon and you can find an infrared sauna that looks pretty decent for $1,000, but a lot of these saunas, people don't realize, are garbage. They're really thin, low quality wood. They're going to break. They're plywoods that are going to off gas, and maybe most importantly, very low quality emitters that are not emitting infrared energy in the right therapeutic spectrums. That's a huge factor that most people overlook and are just not aware of. You need high quality carbon fiber emitters to emit the correct spectrum of infrared to get these therapeutic benefits. So there's a lot of low quality woods and low quality emitters that are out there. There's also an EMF concern. You ideally want saunas where the brand is showing you they're doing third-party EMF testing and showing that the EMF levels, the electromagnetic field levels of their saunas, are extremely low. How to decide which is best for you, infrared versus traditional? Basically, the way I break it down very simply is, if you're young, healthy, and very physically fit, you're already vibrant, and you have a high heat tolerance, you don't have any kind of illness or fatigue or any sort of symptoms. If you're a young, super fit athlete, for example, you may want to go in the direction of a traditional sauna, just because you may find that an infrared sauna just doesn't get quite hot enough for you. If your heat tolerance is very, very high, you may want that super hot temperatures of a traditional sauna. And you may need to be up at 200 plus degrees to get those heat hormesis benefits that you need if you're that person. Having said that, an infrared sauna is going to be ideal for almost everybody who is not in that situation. If you're not a young, super fit, super energetic, super healthy athlete with a high heat tolerance, I would strongly encourage you to go in the direction of infrared saunas. I have infrared saunas myself, and this is actually me you see in this picture here if you're watching the video. This is a Whitten Solo sauna. Very, very cool sauna that I'll talk to you a little bit more about in a second. There's a number of different ways you can do this. You can see these are very different looking saunas. This is a big wooden chamber with infrared emitters on the wall. And then this Whitten Solo is something that you lay down on. It's portable, it's very light, it's a system that can be stored under a bed or in a closet and be used by one person. Also has the benefit of you being able to lay down in it, and also has one other cool benefit, which is that it's pretty much the lowest cost, high quality infrared sauna on the market. So a really, really cool device that Whitten makes there. Real quick, just why I'm recommending Whitten to you. I listed off a number of really high quality brands there. You can't go wrong with any of those brands, but I do just want to mention, as far as Whitten, they use really high quality woods. They don't use glues that can off gas in the sauna. They have third party testing for EMFs. They have absolutely super high quality emitters. Also in their full spectrum saunas that also include near infrared, which I wrote about in my recent book, The Ultimate Guide to Red Light Therapy and Near Infrared Light Therapy. They are the only full spectrum sauna that uses proper near infrared LED lights to get near infrared at the correct temperature. So for the full spectrum sauna, highly recommend Sunlighten. And as I said, they also have the solo system that I just showed you a picture of me using.
Hey, this is Ari. I hope you enjoyed this video. And one more thing before you go. Actually, two more things. One is, if you enjoyed this particular little clip, the link to the full-length podcast is in the description down below. So make sure to check that out. Also, one more thing. Let me ask you a question. What if I could show you how to double your energy levels and dramatically improve your brain function, reducing your anxiety and depression to a degree on par with antidepressant drugs, but without the side effects? Sound pretty interesting? Well, there are, in fact, numerous compounds that can do this, that have been shown to do this. And I'll take you through just a few of these very briefly. One of them is rhodiola rosea. And this has been shown in studies, rhodiola rosea extract, in people with stress-related fatigue and exhaustion, to cut their levels of fatigue and brain fog in half in less than a month. Just this one compound. There's another compound in my formula Energenesis called NT factor phospholipids that's been shown to help repair mitochondrial membranes and mitochondrial health to the level of healthy 29-year-olds, taking people with deteriorated mitochondria who are over the age of 65, restoring it to the level of healthy 29-year-olds. And that has been shown in numerous studies in various types of chronic fatigue, aging-associated chronic fatigue, obesity-related chronic fatigue syndrome, to increase energy levels by 30 to 45% in the span of 4 to 12 weeks, depending on the specific study. So dramatic improvements in a very short period of time. Two more compounds that are amazing, I highly recommend, that are in my formula Ultra Brain, along with rhodiola rosea. Saffron extract. This has been shown to increase levels of, improve your mood, I should say, and decrease levels of depression on par with fluoxetine, which is Prozac. And not only that, but with fewer side effects. It's much safer and much less likely to cause negative effects than antidepressant drugs are. Acetyl L-carnitine is another compound that's been shown to dramatically improve brain health in older adults. It also improves energy levels in older adults with chronic fatigue by between 40 to 50% in just the span of 2 to 4 months. And the last thing I'll mention here is acetyl L-carnitine has also been compared to antidepressant drugs and been shown, like saffron, to be as effective as antidepressant drugs in combating depression, but without the harmful side effects that so often occur with the drugs. So this is just a small sampling of the over 35 compounds that are in my formulas Energenesis and Ultra Brain that are all proven to dramatically improve energy levels, mitochondrial health, and brain health, and much more. And I highly recommend that you go check these out. If you're struggling with depression or anxiety or brain fog, if you're struggling with stress-related exhaustion and burnout, if you're struggling with chronic fatigue, go check out these formulas, give them a shot. I promise you are going to be blown away by the results. And like I said, the science has already proven that these things work. So you don't have to just take my word for it. There's lots of research to support that, and I'll even link to some of that research down below so you can verify everything that I just said for yourself. So the links to those studies will be in the description for this video down below. So check them out. Check out the formulas on the energyblueprint.com. Again, Energenesis is the mitochondrial formula, and Ultra Brain is our brain formula. Check them out, try them out, and I think you're going to be blown away by the results. Thanks so much, and I'll talk to you again soon.